Hello, my name is Emmanuel Abuatin, a pupil of Taifa Community Basic School. You are welcome to Season 2 of the Dream Big series. The Dream Big series conjures excitement in us children. It is a program that gives us the opportunity to meet and interview adults who have achieved a lot in the society. This morning, I am meeting a filmmaker. He produces and directs his own films. Can you guess who he is? He is Mr. Kwaw, the CEO of TV Africa, a TV station in Ghana. Come with me to meet him. Ansah, please, if I may ask, who are your parents and where were you born?
Well, my father was called Joseph Emmanuel Ansah. He was born in Senyabreku, and my mother was called Teresa Yankee, who was born in Winneba. My father came from Senyabreku. My mother came from Winneba, and also Discove. Discove is very close to Sekendi. In fact, original town for Sekendi is Discove. You know, so that's where I come from. And my mother was one of the very prominent traders in Sekendi. My father was also a very prominent photographer. He was once an official photographer for President Tubman of Liberia. He traveled a lot with the president. He was very artistic, and my mother was very hardworking.
You come from a family of artists. Your elder sister was the first female photographer in Ghana, a brother who was a fashion designer, and another one a musician. How was it like growing up surrounded by so many talents?
My father was a very creative person. He was, a photographer. And apart from that, my father was involved in concert party that started in Ghana, the drama. It was called Axim Trio. Your parents would tell you about E.K. Datsun, Thompson, and Charlie Turpin. They started the Axim Trio, the first drama group in this country. My father was composing the music for them and also doing the story and also painting even the backdrops for the plays that they did in those days. So my father was an all-round, a musician, an artist, a photographer, a painter, you name it. So it looks as if all the children, my sisters and brothers, took a bit of my father's, talents.
As a child, what did you dream about, and have any of those dreams led you here?
I don't know whether I can call it a dream. I remember when I was in class 1, there was end of year play at the school, and we were all given roles to play. Some played a teacher. They wanted to be a teacher in the future. Some wanted to be doctors in the future. Some wanted to be carpenters. And I chose to be a fisherman. So when they had performed on the stage, I went there. I had already rehearsed it. And I wore my Pieto, Pieto.
Oh, yes.
And took my net onto the stage. I cast the net, and I had rehearsed it. On the stage, I went, making sure that the fish were all caught in the net, and started singing. I want to be a fisherman, a fisherman, a fisherman. I want to be a fisherman, to fish all day To fish all day, to fish all day. I want to be a fisherman, to fish all day. And the way I acted when I finished, you know, in those days, people were appreciating the way I was. So they were throwing groundnuts to me, watching on the stage. You know, it was amazing, and that really made me feel that people appreciated, you know, my artistic performance. And I said, well, maybe one day I would like to also be in the arts. You know, the inspiration, I was born with it, but then if you do not perform it, people would not appreciate. And appreciating it convinced me that I must work hard to be in the arts. That's why I'm here.
What made you choose to become a filmmaker?
Even though my father was a still photographer, he was such an innovative person. He was taking all kinds of, you know, chances. He ordered his own movie equipment. He would shoot us in the house. And even in those days, my father was processing his own color, you know, at home. He did a small laboratory, and all of us had to participate in his career, the photography, you know, if you want your school fees paid. We also, all the children were involved in this creative art. That's what inspired all of us to get into the various, and our mother too, you know, was a very good seamstress. So, you see, Kofi Ansah, anytime my mother was sewing, you go around and be watching how my mother would cut the pieces and join and whatnot. It also influenced him. So that is what also inspired him to become a fashion designer.
Sir, if I wanted to become a filmmaker, what would I need to study? And are there any special schools I need to attend?
Number one, you want to see whether you have a creative ability. You know, whether in writing, being a photographer, you know, or a set designer or whatever. Of course, there is a school that teaches, you know, all these things. It's called NAFTI, National Film and Television Institute. So I want to believe that one day you'll be able to test your artistic prowess to see whether you can enter a filmmaking. It's very interesting profession.
What are the challenges of making feature films, and how do you deal with them?
All depends on, apart from being creative, the way you see things, how hard you work, you know, because it is not easy. You can't just put a camera before someone and shoot whatever is there and think that, you know, you should. Number one, it starts with a script. You want to make sure that the script is well written. Sometimes if it's a story, you tell people the story and let them react to see whether the way you are telling the story is having, you know, effect on others. The way they react will tell you whether you've got a good story to start with. Now, the cameraman must also do his own work, the sound man, the set designer. So if you were the director, you want to ensure that all these people, you know, have done their homework. You rehearse it to make sure. You don't just put the camera before the the actress and or the actor and say, hey, shoot on. You know, they even have to rehearse the story for you to make sure that what the story they are telling you is going to have effect on others. You know, so these are the challenges. If you don't take up the challenges of trying to prepare yourself well, you can't make a good film.
You own a TV station which wins awards for its children's program. Could you please tell us about this program?
The program is called Amazing Child. Amazing Child. You know, interestingly, when the children come for an audition, they all come sometimes wearing Michael Jackson's gloves and tights. They think all that we want to see is the Michael Jackson dancer. When you said, you stop it. You don't know much about your own dances and your own performances and whatnot, your story, the stories you want to tell. It's not just dances. So we give you a coach, an assistant, someone to bring you up. Before you realize that Michael Jackson gloves and other things, you've thrown them away. And you are doing a very good dance, poetry, or drama that people will appreciate. So you must prepare, do your homework. Don't say because they are children, you will not prepare them. When you hear the people, you give them confidence that they can do something for people to appreciate. The end result is always very good. I don't take things for granted.
Tell us about some of the feature films you've produced and how you portray children in them.
My first feature film was called Love Brewed in the African Pot. And you know, Auntie Doris Adabasu Kuonu, she was in it. She was a very young girl. This was nearly 35 years ago, you know, a long time ago. And when you meet her, she can tell you the rehearsals that we made. You know, we had a lot of rehearsals. So when it came out and it looked good, it's not just saying that Auntie Doris come and stand before the camera. She did her homework. When she went home, no matter how small the role is, she had to rehearse. And when she came on the set, we also rehearsed her. And it became quite a popular thing. It was the first from the private, you know, filmmaking. In those days, films were made, feature films were made by the government. But this time, that was the first private, and then it won a number of awards. And Heritage Africa was the first English-speaking film to have won the Grand Prix. Grand Prix means the first prize, you know, at Burkina Faso, which is the largest, you know, African film festival called FESPACO, you know. So it all, whatever I say is based on hard work and doing your homework and giving people who are participating, be that person an actor, the cameraman, the makeup artist, the confidence to add his lot to whatever he's doing. So the end result will be good.
In the name of His Majesty the King, I order you to stop and disperse. In the name of His Majesty the King, I order you to fire.
Ansah, please tell us what drives you.
Number one, patriotism. You know, wanting to make a contribution towards national development. If you have done something which is appreciated by the public or your people, it inspires you to do more. And the challenge is always greater, you know, because once they've seen the first one, they want the second one to be better. So it means you have to work hard. And I am inspired because I want children like you to be committed to the work you are doing, enjoy doing it, work hard on it, because nothing is easy. Easy comes, easy goes. I'll tell you an interesting story. When I was a child, I saw a film called Sanders of the River. And the Sanders of the River, there was one of the black people, he was an African American, one of the great voices actor, he was a poet, he was an actor. And then Hollywood told this man that they wanted him to participate in a film that would lead his African people to victory. The man was so excited, and he was a chief, an African chief. He stood on the canoe, and the people paddling on the canoe, he sang a song. Aieko mokobe, aieko mokobe, aieko, aieko. And the story was so powerful. Apparently, that film that they brought the man, they wanted to embarrass him because he was a great African, embarrass him so that he will never feel confidence enough to help the black race.
Okay.
And the script they gave him, apparently, they did not add everything to him. They did one which portrayed Africans having caught an European and putting him in a pot and cooking him for the Africans to eat. Then, as the people were in the pot boiling, there were people dancing around. They made it in Hollywood, in the Utiriko, Kerenka, in the Utiriko, Kerenka. And as a child, I did not even bring my mind to what was being said. I did not even know Ghanaian languages were being used in that film. In the Utiriko, do you understand?
Yes.
In the Utiriko, Kerenka, in the Utiriko, Kerenka. When that film was released and Paul Robeson saw that film, he was so angry and sad that he left America and went to Russia. You know, soon afterwards, when he came back to die, that is a way they got rid of this very proud man, very talented man that everybody in the world admired. So I said, hey, if film is that powerful, then I will make sure that I do something positive with film so that young ones like you will be encouraged to know that the African is capable of doing whatever everybody has done.
What are the books you read and why?
I love history books. I love films that talk about history, documentaries that talk about history. Because it's only when you watch these things that, or you read these books, that you know how the Africans performed yesterday, to give me confidence to do what I can so that our tomorrow will be much better.
Who has influenced you the most?
You know, my father influenced me a lot. You know, number one, he was a very hard worker, and also my father was someone who would not rely on everything from abroad. I remember when we were kids, even box cameras, my father would do his own box camera and give it to the children to go to school and shoot and come and process them at home. We also made some money in our pocket, you see. So the old man was a disciplinarian, but he made sure that the children, you know, worked very hard to achieve whatever they deserved.
According to UNICEF, more than 1 in 4 children live in poverty in Ghana. What are your thoughts?
Ghana is blessed with all kinds of resources. But you know what is happening in Ghana? Selfishness.
Okay.
The resources that we have, when I get into an office, I'm not thinking of how to share this thing with everybody. You know,
Yes.
some time ago, education was free. Education was free. The government at that time made sure that every child went to school. Now a lot of children are not going to school because their parents cannot afford it. If we are not training the children, we are not putting them in schools, how will they find their talent to develop on it? So poverty is not just having money in your pocket. Poverty is when you've lost confidence in yourself. Poor because some people were born, they come to this world, they become washmen. Before you realize, they've trained their children to become doctors, carpenters, and bricklayers, who are nation builders, So I think I would have wished that every child at least will have the opportunity to go to school, and whatever we have in our land, will make sure, leadership will make sure that everybody benefits.
Could you please tell us a story that has made an impact on you?
One day, my mother was a trader. I mean, she sold everything. If the word is too big for you, every merchandise my mother, sold it. And one day, I had sisters in the house, but my mother decided there was a cloth called Ansah, which was a taboo for men to touch. Women use it during their period. You are not there yet. Yes. And men were not supposed to touch it. And my mother gave me the Ansah to go and sell. Secondly, can you imagine my classmates seeing me said Ansah? As soon as my mother, gave me this, and I started weeping. My mother said, Echo, why are you weeping? The cloth I've given you to go and sell and the one I'm wearing, tell me the difference. By the way, what do you know? Could I say I knew something about it? So I went to town. I'm Monsignor. And the old ladies seeing a young small boy selling Monsignor. Oh, Mura, Ayazidudu. Mura, oh, you are very brave. You've done well. Give me a strip. Well, I told a strip for them. Within an hour and a half, I had sold 6 yards. I went home and I thought I had not met any classmate. So I went home. And when my mother saw that within the short period of time, 1.5 hours, I had sold 6 yards, he thought I had thrown them away. He said, where's the cloth? I said, Mommy, I sold it. Where's the money? And I took the money. Meanwhile, I add some pennies to it, so I also make small profit. Okay. And I gave her the money. She looked at me and said, Echo, it is not that I wanted to embarrass you. After all, your sisters were here. I could have given them to go and sell. But I wanted to prove to you that the work that will bring you food to eat should never be embarrassing. One day, I want you to beat your chest and say, what haven't I seen in the world? Those people who saw you and start saying, Monsignor, don't mind them. And it's the experience you have gained, they've not gained a quarter of it. and you see that this will make you a greater person. So this is the story I always remember my mother told me, you know, that what will help you to eat, the work that will help you to eat should never embarrass you. You understand?
Yes.
So that is the greatest story in my life.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ansah, for talking me and the children of Ghana about your childhood and your world of film and creativity. Thank you, sir.
I thank you very much for having inspired me so much about what you would want to do for Ghana. So always remember to serve Mother Ghana, because that's your future. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Make a date with the Dream Big series same time next week. I am Emmanuel Abuatin, your host for this edition with Mr. Kwaw. Bye.